E.B. Tucker, Director of Metallic Royalty and author of Why Gold, Why Now, joins us today. E.B., we are going to talk about your gold price forecast and your update for your forecast. But first, the big news item of the week. Biden was just certified as the President of the United States today by Congress as we speak on Thursday. And markets, well, the equities markets are taking the news well. The S&P 500 is up 1.5%, but the gold market is flat. So how are you digesting this news?
Yeah, I mean, Biden has been anointed leader, the leader of DC, which is increasingly the power center. The economic, it used to be that DC was the power center for legislative work, and New York was the power center for the economic power center of the U.S. But increasingly, DC is controlling a greater and greater share of GDP. I think that's going to grow under Biden. I mean, in fact, he's said that he's going to continue funding, and deficit funding the economy. He's going to, continue to push for higher taxes and increased regulation, and people love it. So, okay, if I told, like I was saying earlier, if I told you, hey, you woke up today from being asleep for a few years and the Capitol's on fire and people were shot and transfer payments are hitting everyone's account. I mean, you would have thought, what's the gold price? It's much higher. So I think we have an opportunity with gold because I think what we're going to see is that companies are going to run into some trouble when costs are rising, like we talked about earlier. Labor costs are rising. Commodities are all going up. You look at oil's going up, copper's at a multi-year high, nickel's at a multi-year high. The new Green Deal, $2 trillion for the new Green Deal. My other company where I'm a director, Nova Royalty, has copper and nickel royalties. Nova Royalty is NOVR in Canada. Let me tell you something. The new Green Deal can't happen without copper and nickel, and there's just not enough of it. And so you just look at the direction, and what you say is, instead of being upset about it, or disagreeing with it, let me position my portfolio and my trades to benefit from it. So I think 2 years from now, I mean, I'll come on and you can grade me on this, but probably have a weaker dollar, much higher copper price, much higher nickel price, much higher gold price, higher oil price. That's going to shock people. Higher oil price. And because as oil goes down and green energy goes up, people are going to use more oil because it's cheaper. It's going to send the price back up. So that's what's coming, David. And the question people need to ask themselves is, how do I play it? The book talks about that. I mean, you got to play this to your own advantage. Otherwise, you just standing around being upset about something that happened yesterday.
So, E.B., you talk about governments and loss of freedom a lot in your book. Now, your initial reactions to what happened last night, the storming of the Capitol, markets seem to be shrugging it off today. What were your initial thoughts?
This is the land of the free, David, as you know. So you're free to choose between the Washington Post or the New York Times, Coca-Cola or Pepsi. I mean, you could have a lot of choices in America. I think what people need to realize is that in 2017, people were saying the Russians stole the election for Trump, and everybody was saying, this is just awful. What do we do about it? And then Trump says that someone stole the election, and they say he's a fascist. So it's the land of the free. I mean, as long as you're choosing what the bigger powers agree with, you're free to choose that. I don't know what these people are thinking in DC, though. However, I mean, I prefer, anarchy from a distance. I mean, it's kind of insane these days to go and to jump barricades and scale buildings. And I mean, what's going to happen is you're just going to turn yourself into a Wikipedia entry, and I'm not sure you're going to do anyone any favors. And so I personally stay home and read about this in the news. It's unfortunate that woman was shot. I mean, I read that she was a veteran and all this stuff, and I just think it's terrible. I mean, so anyway, I don't know what these people are doing. They're not going to be doing it for very long because Biden is definitely going to be put in place as the president, and you can see all the people that were serving Obama are now being filed in to serve, under Biden. And I think he's got clear marching orders. And so I think what people need to do is to turn off I don't have a television, as you know, turn off the television, shut down the Facebook feed, and start doing some critical thinking for yourself. And I think when you do that, you're going to start positioning for your own life to get better. I mean, look, my life's not good by accident. I mean, I wasn't born into some, family that invented the refining method for gasoline or something. I mean, this is the result of a lot of work. I mean, I'm not quite as young as I look. So you got to work towards the type of life you want. In the book, I tell people I wanted intellectual freedom. And to get intellectual freedom, I needed financial freedom. That was the journey, and so the reason I wanted intellectual freedom is I don't want to be trapped in this rat race of information where like Orwell warned you about. They're just firing signals in front of you to get a reaction. You're upset about everything. I go to dinner with people that they're upset about everything. I say, what are you so upset about? Well, what about this? What about this? It's nonsense. Forget about it. Just you're upset about things you've been told to be upset about. And so as long as you do that, you can never succeed because you're going to be very distracted.
Yeah.
And so this is an important time to get these distractions out of your life. Anybody that comes around you talking about the headline of 5 minutes ago, get rid of these people. Well, these people never amount to anything. They never make any money. They never do anything with their life. All they do is complain about stuff. And you don't need these people.
We're gonna come back to that. The investors want to know if this event has any significant market impact. Well, the markets today obviously seem to not think that way. But I've had people like Doug Casey on the show who have said that we're headed for a civil war, and he said that a couple months ago. He meant that literally. What are your thoughts? Can this kind of tumultuous volatility happen again?
It's funny. I just before I joined you, I talked to Doug for about an hour and a half this morning. I mean, Doug's a big shareholder of Metallo. I don't think he'd mind me saying that, and he wanted an update on things. And Doug's comfortably positioned by a warm fire at a very large estate. I won't say where, but outside of America. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but I just don't think the Americans have it in them to revolt. I mean, I think they're pacified, they're overweight, they're drug, taking prescription drugs. Most of them, they've lost their ability to think critically. And I just don't think there's anything stopping the trends that are in place right now. And so I'd like to see who's going to try to mount a serious opposition. And I don't say that. I don't say anything against these, David. These people are friends of mine. Listen, I don't say this in a disparaging way. I'm just saying that I don't see a civil war because I think that the powers that be have so much control that there's no way that these people with a couple of posters and a flag or something are going to do anything. I mean, they can. Everyone's got a cell phone. You look at those people storming the Capitol. They're all staring at their phone. Maybe they're buying Bitcoin or something. They're all being tracked. How are you going to do anything? Everyone is glued to a tracked device all the time, and they do whatever the device tells them. That doesn't sound to me like the type of revolutionary environment that works out well. So I don't know. If people are hung up on this, I would put it down. And I would wait and see what happens. You don't want to lose your life and turn yourself into a Wikipedia page. And it's not going to be doing anyone any favors, certainly not your family or anybody that depends on you. So
what should Americans be doing right now? If somebody wants to build his wealth, somebody wants to preserve his capital for the future, what should they do? All right, so you got to see which way the wind's blowing, right? I mean, if you're thinking about things in terms of 2 inches in front of you, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Where is this thing going over the next 2-3 years? That's what you have to think about. And that's where you have to put your money. And so the gold trade is not a trade that's good all the time. Okay. So like it's, from 1981 until 1999, gold was like a pretty miserable market to be in. From 2012 to 2016, gold was a pretty miserable market to be in. So it's not something that works all the time. The gold trade right now is very, very interesting. Physically, the royalties, there's a lot of opportunities, the mining stocks. If you're into charts, look up the charts of the major miners. This is like Agnico, Pan American, Barrick Gold, Newmont. Look at the charts on these things. Unbelievable, okay? Compare them to the S&P on a relative basis. They're performing much better. So where's your money? This is the type of thing to ask yourself right now. If you're investing in the trades that worked for the last 5 years, those trades are old. Everyone knows about them. There's lots of money chasing them. I'd be wary of those. Look at where this market's headed. And I think what you'll see is there's a big opportunity in the Biden administration with nickel and copper that are essential for electric vehicles and for the green energy trend. And we play that with Nova Royalty. And then the same goes with Metallo, with gold and silver. These trades are working very well for me personally. I'm very excited about them. And if I wasn't, I wouldn't be involved.